The shocking truth behind 41,500. What is 60,000 minus 18,500? A simple math problem unravels a shocking truth. 18,500 is the official number of transplants China performed from 1994 to 1999. From 2000 to 2005, 60,000 transplants were performed in China. That's a staggering growth of 41,500 in such a short time period. In the past, Beijing claimed its organs came from executed prisoners. But according to Amnesty International, China executed about 1,700 prisoners every year from 2000 to 2005. This has remained the same both before and after the persecution of Falun Gong. Evidently, this doesn't explain the sharp increase in transplant numbers. Where did those 41,500 more organs come from? What is the truth behind the number? In 2006, several witnesses came forward and testified that Beijing is imprisoning Falun Gong practitioners in secret camps in Sujiatun, Shenyang, to slaughter them for their organs. The victims' bodies were burned to destroy evidence. The allegation shocked the world. In May 2006, ICIPO urged the international community to investigate these allegations. Former Canadian MP David Kilgour and human rights lawyer David Matas considered the allegation to be acts of atrocity. They decided to launch an investigation to uncover the facts. May 8, 2006, on Parliament Hill in Ottawa, David Kilgour and David Matas announced that they would jointly lead the investigation of the Chinese regime's live organ harvesting from Falun Gong practitioners. They stated that the investigation must be independent and the results will be made public. Both expressed that it was the most serious allegation imaginable, that Chinese Communist Party slaughtered people for their organs simply because their belief in Falun Dafa. Therefore, they must learn the facts and objectively, specifically, and solemnly determine its gravity. When they concluded their investigation, both believed that the allegation is true. Beijing's party state has been unlawfully arresting Falun Gong practitioners and slaughtering them for their organs, while reaping a huge profit. They termed it a new form of evil on the planet. Kilgour and Matas anticipated that both witnesses and material evidence would be hard to obtain in their investigation. The perpetrators would never confess to committing such crimes, and the victims' remains would have perished in the incinerator. So far, the Chinese government has not allowed any foreign entities to conduct independent investigation in China. Nonetheless, they decided to go ahead with the investigation, considering the extreme nature of the allegation. After examining 18 pieces of evidence, Kilgour and Matas concluded that the witnesses' testimonies are entirely true. The evidence comes in three categories. The first category is Falun Gong practitioners. The second is China's transplant situation. And the third is general circumstances. The first category is Falun Gong practitioners. Kilgour and Matas explained that Falun Gong is an ancient cultivation practice. It teaches methods of cultivation intended to improve physical and spiritual health. This cultivation practice has no political agenda. Its followers seek to promote truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance across racial, national, and cultural boundaries. Falun Gong practitioners stay absolutely clear from violence. Compared to other victims of the CCP's tyranny, why is its persecution and slandering against Falun Gong especially vicious and brutal? They discovered that after 1999, many Falun Gong practitioners who had been arrested just disappeared. What happened to them? For many of those practitioners who had died in detention, their families confirmed seeing surgical incisions on their bodies and that organs were missing. The mutilations were consistent with the allegations of organ pillaging. They also learned that blood samples were taken systematically from detained practitioners. But why? It could have been done for the sake of their health, since they were regularly tortured. Blood testing, however, is a prerequisite for organ transplant. This suggests that they were preparing a massive database for harvesting organs. The second category is about China's organ transplant situations. Their findings were shocking. First of all, Kilgore and Mader suspected the source of those 41,500 more organs. They also found that many Chinese hospitals claimed they could get matching organs in 1 to 2 weeks, which was an astonishingly short waiting time. These suggest the existence of both a computer-based matching system and a massive reservoir of living donors as the source. Investigators disguised as patients' families called Chinese hospitals and asked transplant doctors about the organs. They demanded that organs must be healthy and ideally obtained from practitioners. To their surprise, most doctors admitted that the organs came from Falun Gong practitioners.
喂，你好，哎，你好，你是医生吗？这个移植手术啊，
可以做的。
那要等多久啊？
一个礼拜左右就可以做了。
他有没有这种列这个法轮功的这种提供的就说是很好，这个
我们都是这种。
The third category is general circumstances in China. First of all, China has a track record of serious human rights violations. The second factor to consider is that organ transplant is a highly profitable business in China. Lastly, we know that corruption has become rampant in China. General circumstances may not directly prove that the allegations are true, but they indicate the likelihood that the allegations are true. Examined separately, the 18 pieces of evidence can hardly prove the allegation of organ pillaging of Falun Gong practitioners. If they were considered collectively, however, we have been able to prove that the allegation is indeed true. It is true that a great number of Falun Gong prisoners had their organs pillaged while they were alive, and then their remains were burned to destroy evidence. 60,000 minus 18,500 might be a simple math problem, but it reveals shocking truth to an atrocity committed by China's organ transplant industry. Are you now clear about what really happened?